Welcome to today's NASCAR 07 Busch Series race coverage in the running of the Redball 300 at the Redball Raceway. This is our second trip to the track this season, trying to go for the Redball sweep today with our driver for the season, Clint Boyer. We also come in with a points lead of 110 points over series rival Tony Stewart. Stewart's still winless on the season, 11 wins for ourselves, but we have not won in 5 races coming into the start of this one, so we'll try to turn that around. I think we've got a good shot at it. Was fast in practice. Qualified on the pole for the race today. We're going to be very tough to beat. Short tracks are my strong suit on this game. We've got air tier equipment. Even though I haven't won the last 2 short track races, hopefully we end up getting the W here today. I think as long as we keep the track position at the front of the field, we're going to be tough to pass in that aspect. And then from there, we just got to hope the cautions, if we get any, go our way. So let's get into this thing without further ado. And as always, thanks for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Road to 6K. Green flag in the air. We're on the road to another Busch Series championship here on NASCAR 07 as well. Tony Stewart qualified in the 7th place position, so a little bit further back than he usually ends up. And he actually had an off race at Martinsville on Friday night last week, where he ended up finishing outside the top 10. Where our driver Clint Boyer was able to get away with a 5th place finish. Trying to build on that. Again, I think we are the favorite for the win here today, based off of practice and qualifying. Now, granted, practice qualified for that Martinsville race, I was quick, and then in the race I wasn't, but we have ran here already this season at Redball, so that's why I felt more confident about this one than even Friday night, or even the New Hampshire race the night before that. 2 more short tracks, and we got 2 road course, and then an intermediate track coming up. And we haven't ran a road course yet this season, so kind of some question marks for Watkins Glen as to if we'll be quick there or not. Michigan. It's 2-mile ovals for some reason on this game for me. I'm not as great at. I don't know what it is. Michigan Auto Club. Probably some of the worst intermediate tracks for me. Having the clean air out of the gate, though, that's huge. Also, the race at Redball earlier this season was 200 laps. This one, 300, so might have 2 pit stops instead of just the 1. Fun little track. Thanks for tuning in, by the way, Wade. I see you in the chat down below. Well, half-mile short track here at Redball. It's like asphalt old Bristol is kind of what this track reminds me of. Outside of the colors on the walls being a little different, obviously. It doesn't have like the red or the white stripes. However, that Bristol wall was designed back in the day. I don't think there's a guard gate on the outside of the track either that I notice. No clue how the vehicles get into the facility. I doubt there's a tunnel in this small of a track. We've never discussed this before, so that's kind of new. Ethan, thanks for tuning in also. Still under the weather? Well, that sucks. A couple of you regulars in the chat that have been under the weather this week. About that time of the year. Isn't like flu season around this time of the year? I don't know. I never get my flu shot, so I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it seems like I always thought it was like when the weather changes from like summer to fall. I know my allergies get heightened this time of the year, especially. Although today I'm feeling great. Allergy-wise, I haven't had any problems with it. 5 days out of the week I have problems with it, and 2 of the days of the week I don't. And today is the day I don't, so I think we're winning today. Not just in the race, but on the allergy side of things. Nephew got sick and gave it to you. Yeah, it's always tough. Always tough, and he could point the finger at somebody for... It's like, yeah, you definitely gave that to me. I rarely get sick, so I'm never on that side of things, I guess. Or I gave it to somebody else, because I usually don't get it in the first place. My immune system's like always been really good. I whenever anybody in my family would be sick, like I'd almost rarely get sick after them. The only time I could really remember being sick bad was like food poisoning, but that was different though, because that wasn't an illness that somebody had given to me. It was more like, oh yeah, I ate some bad food and the whole family got sick Thanksgiving that year. I don't remember how old I was or what grade I was in at that time, but yeah, that was freaking Thanksgiving. Taking the whole family out. My grandma. Oh, jeez. Don't undercook the turkey, ladies and gentlemen. Don't undercook the turkey. For those, if you're ever hosting, that was crazy. My whole house, like my mom, my dad, my dad and my sister had it the worst, I think, but freaking, yeah, it just got the whole family sick. Luckily, at that time, it was like a smaller Thanksgiving, so it was literally just like my household with me, my sister, my mom, my dad, and then my grandparents. There was like nobody else there. Because could you imagine if we had like a dozen people there? You had like a dozen of your family members all getting sick. Yeah, it lingered for a while too. Like me and my sister missed like 2 or 3 days of school that week. My parents were calling off of work. Like it was a bad week. Fighting over the restroom at that time. I think we only had one. Only had one bathroom at that time. It was yeah, it was a tough time. Tough time. Over 100 laps between fuel windows. I still think it's going to be a 2-stop race though. If it's right on the number at 100, then we may have a fuel mileage race today. I mean, we had a fuel mileage race at New Hampshire, and that was pretty much the main reason I didn't win there. You never know. Puking in the closet? No, I wasn't drunk. Why would I be in the closet? I was like, like I said, I don't even remember how old I was at that time. I remember of it. My sister and I were pretty young. My sister's 3 years younger than me, so she was like way younger than even I was, which is probably why she ended up getting it the worst. But yeah, that was a tough time. Yeah, I was sick, but I don't know why I'd be throwing up in the closet. That doesn't make any sense. Why am I in the closet? I wasn't going to school. I wasn't getting my clothes out. I was home. Everybody was bedbound. 105 laps. Yeah, I mean, that would be ideal if we can go a few laps past 100 just to be safe. We'll know when we get close to about lap 50 if we end up hitting halfway out of gas or not. Then that'll determine how close to a 1 or a 2-stop race this may be. By the way, I noticed my throttle button was kind of sticking on me just a little bit the last 2 races I did last week. I'm like, man, I think I got to get a new controller because I'm on my backup controller as it is already. So I was a little concerned by the time it would have came in on Amazon that I would have ended up missing a couple streams this week. But now it's like, it's working as if nothing's wrong with it. I tested it out. I was playing SmackDown versus Raw a couple hours ago before the stream. And yeah, I haven't had any issues with it today. It might have been the fact of like not using it for like 3 days. Maybe I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but Warriors definitely got that pull away speed today. 3.5 second advantage over second place. Just getting into lap traffic for the first time after about 30 laps. Oh boy, a little contact up high. John Andretti in the 118 car. 3 wide getting into the corner now. Boyer just trying to get through as much traffic as he can. Kurt Busch at the back of the pack. Surprising seeing him back here. 3 wide again right in front of us. Sailed it off into the corner down to the apron. The only reason I got it to stick there, the car didn't get super loose, is I think because I was like out of the gas the entire time I drove it in that deep. I had so much straightaway speed that I just got underneath them. I mean, that's one thing. The last two short tracks we ran, New Hampshire and Martinsville, I didn't have as much straightaway speed as I usually do on the short tracks. But tonight, it's a little different. We've got quite a bit of it. Get a wireless controller. Did they have PS2 wireless controllers? I never had a PS2 wireless controller. Whoa, boy. I'm honestly just going to use the same ones I have been getting with this, and I just like rotate through, because not only the life of them is long, because I've had this thing for like 4 years now. I want to say this is the 4th controller I've been on. In about a year, you know, I can go without it having any issues. I'm the only one that ever, oh boy, plays on it. We're having a lot of contact at the back of the pack here. Bernie Lamar almost spun off the front bumper of another car. Luckily, we just able to escape to the inside. Teammate Jeff Burton going a lap down. Jimmy Johnson just blew a motor on the bottom of the track. He's out of the race now. Johnson will finish last as he's the first to retire. 40 laps in. Does it? You know what? Now that you mention it, I think I remember there being them. Don't they have like a small antenna on them? Or maybe it was like at that time when I was like younger. They might have had that. You know, nowadays they might manufacture different ones for it, so it might be a little different, I guess, in that aspect. But, yeah, it's like, the brand name of this controller, I don't know how you pronounce it exactly, it's CIPON. Honestly, I think these ones have been my favorite, because the first one I got when I bought the PS2, it was just like a standard PlayStation. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Ah! Well, shoot. Can't have that happen when you're trying to run a perfect race. I don't even know how that happened. I overdrove the corner. Lack of focus, I guess, is what I'm going to chalk that up to. I'm not blaming the chat, but I've had this happen before. I'll just go on like a tangent about something, and then something happens where obviously it was on me, but I don't know how I got to that predicament, other than I probably just wasn't focusing enough. Quite a bit of damage on the left side of that car. We hit the inside wall pretty hard. See the damage on the left front, left rear. So much for trying to lead every lap in this race here tonight as Clint Boyer's down on pit road to repair this said damage. And Tony Stewart's going to take the lead now, so he's going to get 5 bonus points. He started 7th, got up to 2nd place, and it's pretty good for him. Oh, Jeff Burton. What was that all about? Barreling it into the back of the 2. Green flag back in the air. And we're already half a lap off the lead on the restart with the single file. Some reason it lined me up behind all the lap cars, and I don't know why they did that. I didn't get the free pass, so that's kind of weird. So now we literally have to pass all the lap cars and the lead lap car. Buys Tony Stewart more time to lead more laps. We'll catch him. We've clearly got the fastest car in the field. I just got to not damage it too much more. Anyway, with the controller, yeah, the CIPON, I don't know if it's probably Saipon, if I had to imagine. Don't know what country it's branded from. It just feels better, because I feel like the analog stick with the NASCAR games, it felt a little unstable, if that makes any sense. when I was using the standard PS2 controllers. Like, it felt like if I barely touched it, it would overturn the car in the center of the corner. Like, I would turn too much. This one, it just feels more sturdy. Like, I can rotate the analog stick in a, you know, more aggressively, I guess, on corner entry and not spin the car out. Because that's kind of the feeling I would get with the standard original PS2 controllers. Fat or a slim PS2? I don't know the difference between the two. And I bought it refurbished off of Amazon over 4 years ago, like I mentioned. I think it was 2020 when I bought it. Yeah, because it was like during COVID when I bought it. Gave me something to do on and off the channel. It was like right when we were starting the channel. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I had to guess, fat. Like, it looks thick. Boxy. That helps any. Oh boy. 163 still upset about Martinsville. Slamming the right side of Boyer's car. Boyer's already passed a ton of lap cars and lead lap cars. He's almost back inside the top 10. He's picking this field apart. Still 3 seconds off the lead, but we were about 7.5 to 8 seconds back on the restart when it was single file. One is small, one is big. I don't know what you would consider small or big, though, to be completely honest. But it's, like, the PS4 is wider than this, but in length, it's nowhere near as long. It's like short, boxy. It kind of looks like a thin textbook. So it's probably the fat one, if I had to guess. Three wide under, oh boy, up towards the wall again. That time it was over aggressiveness trying to go 3 wide. And that is what bit Boyer that time. Trying to get by Kenny Wallace and Jeremy Mayfield in the same corner. Drove it onto the apron, but didn't clear in the center of the corner. It's going to drop Boyer back to 8th. Buys Tony Stewart more time at the front of the field to continue to lead laps. By the way, this might be a one-stop race today. If we can go 150 laps on a full fuel run, then it will be just a one-stopper. Couple of mistakes here by Boyers put him back in traffic despite qualifying on the pole. He's back up to 4th as he clears Kenny Wallace off turn 2 for that spot. Bring one store back from my childhood, what would it be? Probably Kmart. I remember Kmart having a ton of NASCAR diecasts growing up. And then when they shut down, Walmart like rarely had any, if they ever had any at all, like on stock or just selling them in general. So for that reason, I would say Kmart. At least the Kmart that was closest to where I lived, that was the case. I don't know if that was a universal thing with Kmart, but, or nationwide, I should say. Kmart wasn't universal. A lot of contact. There at Crocker, she's going to be upset. Overdrove the corner and made contact again. I've done that 3 times now. Twice I've ended up in the wall, and 1 caused a caution. And now she's ticked. Wonder if Tony Stewart's still a rival of ours. I don't think he is. He's probably neutral now. J.J. Ailey blocking. He just got back into the top 10 in points after the last race at Martinsville. Boyer drives underneath him looking for 2nd. Clear, center of 3 and 4. Stewart's led about 25 laps so far. John Fleming, thanks for tuning in. Lower the video frame so you can see how... Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll do that. I didn't realize I had that up too high. I gotta pause it again because I didn't put the chat back up on my screen. There we go. Still got a good drive off underneath Stewart for the lead. Little contact. These two already don't like each other. And Boyer back into the lead at lap 75 at the line. So, back out in front, we had the pull-away speed earlier in the race. I would imagine we probably still do here. Boyer's still going to be the car to beat. Just got to stay out of our own way. This 174 car is slow. Second time that we've entered lap traffic with the early caution that we had. And he was so far behind the leaders the first time and that time. Not the leaders, I should say the back of the rest of the field. It was a little high. I didn't realize I was covering some of those lap by lap statistics and stuff that were popping up. Well, I mean, I'm not a video game nerd, so I wouldn't even know, like, I wouldn't even know if mine has an additional one or not. If you're talking about a hard drive, are you talking like a memory card? Because I do think mine holds 2 of them. I think there is enough room for there to be 2. If that's what you're implying. If that's not it, then... I don't know. I can't help you. Yeah, pushing a little tight. I do think this car's getting tighter as the run goes on. I think that's why I'm making more contact with a lot of other drivers. By the way, we haven't hit halfway out of gas yet. Maybe saved a little bit of gas during the caution period. It is definitely going to be a one-stop race. So I thought it was going to be 2 with the extra 100 laps in this one, but nope, it is going to be a one-stopper. We got a ton of traffic around us. Already a 1.8 second lead. I don't have to... I can take my time passing these guys. I got to keep telling myself that so I'm not beating the car up, making contact, and making rivals with everybody. Like right there, 3 wide, not going to make the pass down here. Just got to get out of the gas, roll back in, center of the corner. Pick them off one by one. I don't have to go 2 at a time right now. Like we're that damn fast here today. 2-second lead. Looking to the inside of Hornaday. Trying to put the 33 car lap down. Oh, John Andretti blowing up. Not that far in front of us. Tough break for Andretti. Saw Jimmy Johnson blowing up earlier in the race, so that's 2 of them that have dropped out now. First since the restart. Type of caution, me wrecking. Same way I made contact overdriving a corner, and I caught myself on the left front of another car, hit the wall, came back down the track off the wall, got clipped off the left front of another car. Turned myself into the inside wall, bringing out the yellow. Had to pit to repair damage, that's why I lost the lead. 23 cars were on the lead lap at the time and drove back through the field. had about a 4-second lead at the time of the caution. I mean, it's a race for second place here today, I think. I know it's early. We don't know how the caution can maybe play things out, but this is our race to win. Or lose, depending on how it goes. Yeah, I started on pole. Yep, Packers Lions next week. At least with it being a later start time, I can actually catch most of the second half of that game. NASCAR race starts at 2, just after 2. I'll definitely be able to watch the second half. And I think the Packers have a bye the following week. They've got a lot of night games left this year still. I wish it would have more night games early in the season so I can catch them. A lot of drivers are short pitting, by the way. Lap 95 in this one, and there are a ton of cars coming into the pits. One of our teammates, Jeff Burton's down. I mean, I don't have to pit anytime soon. I don't plan on it. No need for us to pit. Look at all this clean traffic with so many cars on pit road. I mean, there are way more cars on pit road than there are on the racetrack. I mean, this is going to give us an even bigger lead. I heard contact somewhere on pit road. 100 laps in here at the Redball Raceway. It's a fun little track, I will say. I think it was underrated as far as like one of my favorite fantasy tracks growing up. I never really looked at this as being one for some reason, even though I was always a fan of short track racing. But this feels like a fun, unique short track. It just feels like I'm at like a local short track. It's like NASCAR at like a random local short track. That's what this feels like. I think that's why I have a lot of fun racing here. And Dodge Raceway was always my favorite. I think my favorite fantasy road course on these games was always Speedway Boulevard. That's probably my favorite fantasy road course. Jordan Love questionable? Yeah. I still don't even know how he got hurt. I watched part of the highlights from the game yesterday. Still NASCAR season for me, so I try to keep up with football as much as I can when it's going on at the same time. I think that's why my fantasy leagues have sucked the last 2 years. Not this year, though. This year we've turned it around. I put more focus during the football offseason this year than I have the last couple of years. I want to win a league. I might win 2 of them. 6-2 and 5-3. We got a shot in both. Tony Stewart backed up in heavy traffic for what's in front of him. 2-lap lead on the field for Boyer because he has not pitted yet. Everybody else has made their first stop of the day. Maybe they're trying to make it on 2 stops. That could be possible. Nobody pitted during that last caution, Boyer included, yet somehow Clint Boyer has made it as far as he has so far on fuel. And again, we could easily make this thing on just 1 pit stop today. So that's the goal. Honestly, if we don't catch a caution, well, I think if we caught a caution before lap 150, I think I'm still going to pit because I still have the field 2 laps down. They take the wave around. They're only getting 1 lap back. And then I can go further than them on the next stop, assuming they're going to just split this into 2 stops. We're in a great spot. We were already in a good spot on speed before. Now we're in even better spot. I will say Stewart's a lot harder to pass now that he's got fresher tires. I'm kind of sitting behind him for a while. Finally going to get underneath and lap him again. He appears to not be in second place anymore. Crocker might have cycled out of the pits in front of him. I know we're expanding that points lead. It's 110 right now, but that's less than 1 race worth of points back in this era of NASCAR, so it's still close. Like, mathematically, he can take the points lead today if I'd gotten a serious accident or something. Which we almost did. We almost did once. So Stewart's got to be 3 laps down at the moment. Big move. Making contact with Crocker, trying to put her 2 laps down. Probably she didn't try to wreck us there, honestly. She may still try to wreck us. Maybe not. She overdrove turn 3 entry. Last time I had dinner at Applebee's, it's been a long time. I don't really go to those, like, franchise, like, dine-in restaurants. And usually if the family goes out to eat, we usually don't go to something like that. We usually go to somewhere, like, local in downtown Toledo or something. Just like a local business. Which I always find kind of cool. Like some of the suburb areas, you know, around there and stuff. Try to find something new. Keeps those businesses afloat, you know. Not that us going there like once, like ever, and rotating random places keeps them afloat with us alone. But just, you know, them getting business. They could use it more. Find some good hole-in-the-wall places, you know. Especially if you live in, like, a big area. It's possible Jeremy Mayfield might actually be in second if Crocker wasn't. No, I see Yaley up here. So Tony Stewart fell from 2nd to 5th during green flag stops. I don't know if those guys pitted before him and they were able to gap that way. Tough to tell for sure. Boyer laps Mayfield. Just ran our fastest lap, 15.229. A lot of clean air up in front of these next 2 cars. Right front tire starting to take a little bit of a beating. Boyer gets by Yaley, a little contact these next 2 cars. Oh, you know what? Kenny Wallace might be in second. I didn't notice he was up here either. Yep, Yaley wasn't in second, so that means Stewart fell from 2nd to at least 6th then. Get by this 178 car. And then Kenny Wallace. Well, we were going to have a lot of clean air until there was contact between those two. Held them up quite a bit. See the opening on the track map now. I have eaten at an Applebee's a couple times. Like that I know of. I just don't remember the last time I was there. To go back to that question. It's been a long time. Quarter of a tank of gas left this point to run. Kenny Wallace blocking for his life. Warrior squeezes underneath. Looking to make the pass, bottom of the racetrack, clear off turn 4, and he's got a 3-lap lead. So there we go. Kenny Wallace is in second place. Last time you went was with a high school friend. Last time I went was probably when I was in high school, honestly. Might have been that long ago. End the drought of not winning in 5 races, or end the drought of not going to Applebee's? I'm fine not going to Applebee's. I don't know. I just this guy body checked me the last time I tried to make a pass on him. Not that time. Crowded me a little bit, but at least raced me clean. Both, yeah. Honestly, it doesn't even feel like it's been 5 races since I won, but I was looking back at my, keeping track of, like, my race finishing results and season statistics and stuff on my Google Docs page, and I was like, oh man, it has been that long since I won. Like, it doesn't feel like it because we get, like, 4 to 5 races in a week, but yeah, it has been over an entire week now since I've won. I mean, obviously, once we pit, the leaders are going to be back on the lead lap, more than likely. I still think we're in a great spot, obviously, being the fastest car in the field. And hopefully this carries into IRP tomorrow night on another short track. I mean, you think about it, though, Tony Stewart's had a couple of bad finishes in that stretch of races I haven't won. You know, Daytona, I finished 36. He finished 40th with an engine failure. Finished, what, 14th at Martinsville? We ended up getting a top 5. Even though I didn't win, he led some laps early, but really fell behind in the middle of the race. And I thought right out of the rip he was maybe going to have a shot at winning. You know, and he's definitely not winning this race. You start to question, obviously he's got the speed capable of winning a race this season, but is he actually going to win a race this season is going to be the next question. I think just for the hilarity side of things, I hope he doesn't win. I hope, like, if he tries to make the championship fight competitive, you know, if I have a bad race here or there before the end of the season still, that he, like, finishes 2nd or 3rd and doesn't win. I'd like to see, like, going into the championship race, head-to-head battle at Homestead, and he hasn't won yet this season. At that point, watch him pull a Daniel Hemrick and, like, win the final race of the year and win the championship. I would hope not, but it's not impossible. Yeah, that's right. We did. That was Chicagoland on the last lap. That was the race he should have won. That was literally the only race this year that it didn't get away from him. Like we physically took it away from him. But yeah, that was Chicagoland last week. It's not much of a winless streak, but yeah, that was the first race on my 5-race winless streak. So we ended up finishing 4th. Still beat him. 3rd or 4th, one of those two. We were 3 wide coming to the line for 3rd. I think we were 4th. A little over halfway. Amazing I'm able to go this far on fuel, though. I mentioned it already. I mean, we're only saving 3 laps with the caution that we had earlier. It's well beyond 150 to make this on 1 stop. I can tell you, once we pit again, I'm not pitting the rest of the race. As we're proving right now, even with old tires, I'm still quick. Green-white checker, yeah, it was a green-white checker. I wish it didn't have to end with a green-white checker. I wish it could have just, been me and him for those last, 3 or 4 laps. Head-to-head. I mean, in hindsight, it kind of helped us in points a little more, just because I did finish 6 positions ahead of him instead of just 1, but... Wild scenes, that one. Tonight's about asserting our short track dominance. Well, we've definitely done that. I still think we're going to get another caution before the end of this race. I doubt we're going to go 250 plus laps green to the finish. From when we last restarted. We're going to go to lap 170 and then pit. So lap 170 will be the pit stop here for Clint Boyer. I almost wonder if we've opened up enough of a gap that'll still have like a 1-lap lead on the field after I cycle out of the pits. We're already the fastest car. I get fresher tires on this thing compared to everybody else. With the difference in when they pitted and when I'm going to make my first stop finally. It'll be pretty close. We're going to go one more lap just because we've got the clean air advantage right now. All right, so we'll pit at lap 171. Pit road speed 70 miles per hour. I had a good pit road entry back in practice. No adjustments, 4 tires, full tank of gas, only stop of the race. Still stinks I'm not going to lead every lap, though. And the fact that Tony Stewart was the one guy that led laps, too. The one man that we needed not to lead any laps is the one that led any other than us. Clean stop. Actually, I almost cycled close to that clean air pocket where we were. This guy's blocking me. Yeah, we do? Oh, jeez. I think there was nobody to my outside that time. And we got a 1-lap lead on the field. 1 caution in second place will get their lap back with the free pass. But if they end up splitting this race, you know, into thirds like they did earlier, they're not that far away from pitting yet again. Big dive getting off into the corner. A little less than 125 laps to go. National Cat Day. Didn't think I'd give up 3 laps on pit. Yeah, I didn't think so either. Not here. Maybe Dodge Raceway, but that's only because the pit lane's on the outside of the track. Little contact up here. 2 lap cars. He just gave that guy the boot. That was a cool camera angle for that, though, I will say. That was like a textbook bump and run. Just a little boop, and up the hill he went. See you later. will say a lot of my allies in this race have been giving me like a ton of room to make the corner. Way more than they usually would. Like usually they would sometimes they get out of the way, but they're getting like way out of the way today. I think that's why I'm able to still make up, you know, quite a bit of really good lap time despite being in lap traffic. JJ Ailey right there again. See Greg Biffle on pit road. Definitely have more pit stops coming up right now. Tony Stewart not giving a lot of room here to Clint Boyer. Did I drive it off really deep into the corner? Yes, but that, see, like even right there, I'm on the white line and he's making contact with me. Yeah, I don't think that was my fault on either one of those bits of contact. Definitely not that second one. Tony racing like an asshole again. Yeah, that guy's racing like an asshole too. I didn't think I had beef with the 117 car. I don't even know the name of that guy. A lot of contact there towards the... Oh, speaking of contact, that was a big hit. Kurt Busch just aborting pit road at the last second right into the left front of this 2 car. I think I have to pit. That left front's in the red. Oh, more contact. Kurt Busch bouncing off the wall into Denny Hamlin. That was a big hit. And now he's trying to wreck us, thinking it was my fault that he... You go fuck yourself. Oh, we got pit. That was way better pit road entry than the last time. Better safe than sorry. We'll still have a lap advantage on everybody once the cycle's through. That just... Race is going too good, I think, at that point. What is that? This is a Bort's pit road at the last second. I guess I'm not pitting anymore. Slams right into me, and then he had the wherewithal to try to wreck me the next lap like it was my fault. Oh, and Tony Stewart crashing into me on pit road. These are tight pit boxes, though. It doesn't look like they give you a lot of room. They don't even really look big enough for the car to fit in, to be completely honest. All right. Lap 200. Still in the lead. Not by a full lap anymore, unfortunately. We got costed a lot of time. A lot of lap traffic still in front of us. 100 laps to go here at the Redball Raceway, but still about a 12-second lead. A lot of damage that we had to repair there. I mean, there's an off chance that not everybody is pit yet, but I would imagine most of the field is pit. Oh, that was on me. I washed up a little bit. We were 3. We were definitely 3 wide. It's because I care about having a good run. I don't do as like realistic of commentary with the video game stuff as I used to, but that was also because I never did like live commentary streams for the actual races on the weekend when we first started the channel. I will say the video game content has it's changed a little bit over the last couple of years. I still show a little bit of that, but not from start to finish as much. Seeing a lot of cars bottoming out. Got that low air pressure. Yeah, I usually don't. I try to keep it PG. I know we have a younger audience on the channel some nights. Now he's moving Danny Oakland Jr. out of the way. Got 90 laps to go. We're going to have to pass Kurt Busch again. He's probably going to try to wreck us again. All right, Kurt. You're going to give me room, and you're going to like it. Don't do it. I don't know if he was about to or not, but luckily for myself, he didn't. It's like he waited for me to pass him and then just, like, sends me in the next corner. Yeah, I'm glad I pitted when I did. We had a big enough lead. Still do. One lap lead on the field. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. I mean, we shouldn't see any more pit stops the rest of the way. Maybe they pit if there's another caution, but... Posture plank for the chair? No. No, I got pretty good posture. It's actually a lot easier for me to sit up straight doing the video game streams than the live commentary stuff. Because the live commentary stuff, I'm like constantly on my laptop, so there's like a little bit more space between that and the chair. The chair, I'm like sitting back against the backrest. In a perpendicular... I should say not perpendicular, that's like sideways, I think. A vertical motion. Yeah, I think the live commentary streams have really, I think they've given me a little bit of a nerd neck over the last 2 seasons now. Almost two full seasons. Well, technically it'll be 3 seasons. I just only did Cup Series Season 1, and the last 2 seasons doing the Truck Xfinity and Cup races. I did. I actually forgot about you watching with your family. Yeah, I didn't even... I rarely cuss as it is. Usually if I do, I try to do it in a more hilarious fashion. Like, I don't do it because I'm actually mad. It might have seemed like I was ticked off there a little bit ago, but in actuality, like, I really wasn't. Chair, I do believe. Like, it's like one of those chairs. I need to feel like I'm in the car while I'm racing virtually on a console game. I just don't get the added effects when Kurt Busch decides not to pit, slams into my left front, throw me into the laptop or something. Yeah, yeah, it is just a video game. Well, I mean, like, even like with the live commentary stuff, because I commentate it as if it. I mean, obviously it is a real race, but I'm commentating it professionally. You'll never hear me cuss on there. For instance, like, I'm a huge Ryan Blaney fan. I called the race down the middle yesterday. I uploaded the video of the finish of that. I mean, you could even tell, like, on the inside, it pained me to see Blaney get passed in the final corner and miss out on a championship 4 spot yesterday. But, and after that, I explained, my thoughts as a Blaney fan, but then obviously my thoughts overall on the race itself. And it was still a damn good race. It was an intense moment. Cool moment for the sport. Glad I was able to witness it for that reason, but definitely a gut punch. I still kind of feel it. Still kind of feel the effects of that here even today. It's going to be tough to get over. If Blaney goes out, wins next weekend at Martinsville, it'll be very easy to get over. But, man, if he misses the championship 4 and runs well at Phoenix for the 3rd consecutive year, I'm going to be like, oh, man, what could have been if he just... Man, he was in a tough spot. I mentioned it on the stream yesterday, too. And I didn't see many people, like, in the stream chat saying this, but I've seen a lot of people, like, social media and stuff, people talking crap. Like, oh, how could Blaney blow it or whatever? Like, oh, Blaney, why do you have to give him the outside? The way the sport is nowadays, let's say he runs the outside. Tyler Reddick's going full send mode down on the bottom. And I honestly, whether he's clear or not, he's coming to the wall on the exit of turn 4. In my personal opinion, I think that that's what would have happened. So I don't really fault him. He didn't have as big of a gap as I thought he was going to have entering turn 3, and I'm sure he did as well. I just, I don't think he really did anything wrong. And I will say, on behalf of, like, sports fans everywhere, not just NASCAR fans, because I see it all the time, I feel like more people tend to either talk trash or hate on the guy or somebody that lost rather than congratulate the person who won. Like, I have seen a lot of people like, oh, Denny blew it, or oh, Blaney blew it. I think Reddick just made some damn good moves. Like, he was flawless those last 2 laps on the older tires. Like, to beat not 1 but 2 guys, a NASCAR Cup champion and a, definitely a future Hall of Famer in Denny Hamlin, even if he doesn't end up winning a championship. And he took him to school. But I don't think he made him look bad. Like, he was great. He was great. You got to give credit to work in general just to be up in the top 5 all day, but that last restart, the whole thing, especially he filled a 4th place on the restart. I forget who he was battling. I think it was Bell for 3rd at that time, and he got by him like nothing. Aaron Trocker's slamming us again. Been a minute. Yeah, he had a phenomenal race. Billy Kramer, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I give credit to where credit's due. I listen to the TV broadcast like well after the fact. I'm not listening to it while I'm actually commentating the race. So I don't know what they're saying in the heat of the moment when I'm talking, but outside of the few times that I air it on stream to give my voice a break and stuff like that and let you listen to like stuff that's breaking mid-race, strategy-wise and all that I might not have as much in detail as like a Steve Letarte does or something of that nature. Pit stops with reports on what adjustments are changed. I like to give you guys the availability to listen to that as well every pit stop. But Yeah, I honestly think I did a better job than Lee Diffie this weekend. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm giving myself a pat on the back this weekend. I thought I had a good call. I don't feel like that's the case every single time. I mean, he's a professional for a reason, but it's weird. Like, something about, and Diffie's had some great calls. You know, his first run with NASCAR for a couple races, a handful of years ago. What was that, 2017? Took over for Rick Allen for a couple weeks. I think when Allen, I don't know what he was gone for, but and then this year I thought he's done a pretty good job from what I've listened to, going back and rewatching the highlights, some of his calls to some of the close finishes, the good finishes that we've had so far this season. But something about like this weekend, he was like, I can't remember word for word because I only watched it once, but he didn't really like call Reddick making the move for the win in the final corner, if that makes any sense, because he just kind of mentioned like all three, anyone could win, pick one or choose one or something like that. But he didn't actually like state that Reddick was making the move as he was making it, and then by the exit of turn 4, and he just said like, and it's gonna be Reddick. And then I don't know, based that off of like my call, I was like calling the actual pass itself. So I don't know. I see a lot of unwarranted hate, I feel like, towards Lee Diffie with his commentating. I think he does a really good job. He hits his bullet points, and you know, whether he's better or worse than Rick Allen, I'm not really going to argue that because I think Rick Allen got better. I think it is a slight upgrade in the grand scheme of things. I think he was kind of thrown into the deep end by having to start mid-season when he hadn't really, you know, he probably wasn't even watching much NASCAR because IndyCar races were going on at the same time. So he had to do a lot of research and stuff leading into when he took over. So I really don't like the call for NBC doing that mid-season if you were going to make the change. You know, I'm surprised they didn't just wait till next year, or, you know, if they were going to do that this year, to just do it right off the rip. But, yeah, he usually has some really good calls, but I think I beat him this week, so I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. Yeah, Lee Diffie gets... I feel like a lot of people either love him or don't like him in the booth. I feel like the only reason they don't like him is because they don't like his accent, honestly, which he can't really do anything about. That's not his fault that he was born in a different country. Like, it's, you know, and then moved here at a young age. Like, that's not his fault. But, no, he gets a lot of stuff factually right, I feel like. And, just had a little bit of a need Mike Joy every race. Yeah, I think he's just too old that he wouldn't want to do something like that anymore. I'm sure back in the day he would have been all in for doing something like that, but yeah, not anymore. Yeah, I'll never get tired of listening to Mike Joy. Cherish him while he's here. He's only got a couple years left probably, so I'm honestly somewhat surprised that he stuck around as long as he has, just with Larry Mack and DW not being in the booth anymore for, what, like 3 or 4 years now? Both those guys have been out of the booth full time. Like, yeah, Larry Mack steps in here and there when they've had, like, the guest analyst there for a couple of years. He would step in for a race or two, but, you know, on a week-to-week basis, I'm shocked. How many more years does Mike Joy have left? Yeah, we don't know the details on his contract. NASCAR having less races in a season might keep him around a little bit longer, just because he is getting, you know, older for doing his job. I mean, I look at like Al Michaels in the NFL. He's in his 80s and he's still commentating. So, I mean, I can see Mike Joy even doing that. I mean, what, Fox only has like, I don't even think they have a dozen races next year now with the new TV deal for the next 7 years. So, no, he might run the next 7 years. I'll put him, you know, around Al Michaels' age now, so could be. Assuming that he's obviously still healthy at that time. That obviously is a big thing in that, but haven't taken a field pass yet in this race. We'll do those right now. Kevin Harvick 4 laps down in 14th, where he runs. Ooh! Tried to get a wider arc into the corner. I almost hooked him into the wall. All right, then Jeff Burton's 4 laps down in 21st. All those passes were not for position for Burton. Didn't even realize Boyer's got a 2-lap lead on the field now, not just a 1-lap lead. I don't know when we passed the second place car, but we passed him. That's what great. I don't know why I yelled into the mic right there. I'm sorry. I felt like I went up an octave for some reason. But Bestwick, yeah, I mean, he was great at his job too. Mike Joy will always forever be my favorite, though, personally. I think it's just the historian side of things with the sport. He's been around it longer. He's got more. He's got that Vince Scully effect. I feel like that. Alan Bestwick, although being great at his job, on a race-by-race, week-to-week basis, I think he would be a close number 2 to Mike Joy, but I've always valued Mike Joy's enthusiasm, I think, you know, right there with Joy, if not a little bit better, but just the knowledge that Mike Joy brings to every broadcast. It's unlike really anything we've seen, at least for the TV side of things for the most part. Like Ken Squire would be another one that kind of had that same thought process when going through a broadcast of a race. But for one, he was mostly radio when he was doing lap-by-lap content. And when he was working TV side of things, it was more of like a, you know, pre-race, post-race analyst guy for CBS back in the days. And not really on the play-by-play side of things as much. That's where Bob Jenkins came in. Mike Joy, Larry Mack, Steve Letarte. Yeah, the crew chiefs definitely add a lot of knowledge that the drivers can't have. I do think you have to have one driver in there just because, you know, they don't know how to drive the car. So you do have to have that input on there. And I personally think somebody like a Dale Jr., you know, has the enthusiasm. Benny Parsons had the enthusiasm on top of... I will say Dale Jr. is probably better than Benny Parsons for the sake that Benny used to get a lot of, like, factual stuff wrong, I feel like. Dale Jr. being, again, kind of a historian of the sport, despite even being in the sport as a driver. He's very much into the history of the sport. I'd say probably on a deeper level than a Benny Parsons was, and that's probably why he doesn't get a lot of factual things wrong when he was broadcasting. No, you need a driver, but I think they're horrible. Well, yeah, because you got to think, the drivers aren't going to be as good when it comes to commentating because they are there to just kind of add detail. They're not there to add the enthusiasm like a lap-by-lap guy or... I mean, same deal with color commentators. You got to think, they were playing the professional sport, or in this case with NASCAR, racing in that said professional sport their entire, you know, adult life. They weren't going to school and stuff like that to be a journalist or a broadcaster. So they don't, there's a lot of things they just don't know compared to, you know, what a analyst or a, you know, a journalist or commentator would bring, a broadcaster. I think Kevin Harvick can be really good. I think him having that little bit of experience, you know, prior to retiring really helped for his rookie season. I think from the enthusiasm side of things, maybe he lacks just a little bit compared to like a Boyer, but he could bring the serious that really Fox hasn't had from a driver analyst ever. So I very much appreciate that out of Kevin Harvick. I honestly think he'd be very, very good for the long haul. You know, whether that be for Fox the entire time or whoever, I hope he does stay. And it was only year one for him, too, full time. So it's still new, even though he had slight experience before that. He can put the full focus in on it now. I think Kevin Harvick will be better than he was last year. I think he was still good last year, and that'll only get better and better going forward. Burton pitting, yeah, I saw him pit. We might see everybody pit then. I'm surprised they're pitting 3 times. I had a 2-lap lead on the field as it is. We pitted twice. Looks like everybody else is going to pit 3 times. We could have made it on 1 stop, but Kurt Busch deciding not to pit, slamming into us at the last second, kind of forced our hand to have to pit to repair that damage earlier. But yeah, right now we're in a good spot. 11 laps to go, 2-lap lead. A lot of cars are pitting again. We're probably going to end up winning this thing by 3 or 4 laps if everybody else pits one more time. We're only halfway out of gas. Plenty good. I wonder if this is going to sway the running order at all. Maybe Tony Stewart is taken out of a top 5 finish. If a lot of guys can make it on gas, he can't make up a lap on them. We'll have to wait and see what the finishing order will look like, obviously, in a few more minutes. Because they're cutting costs. I mean, that's all it boils down to. I think 2020 was like, hey, we can do this and still put a broadcast on, so let's just not do this going forward when it comes to the truck broadcast, and we can save money that way. I literally think that's the only reason they're doing it. And they probably wouldn't have done it. Well, that's got to pay back on Kurt Busch. Not that that was intentional. Jeremy Mayfield nearly coming to a complete stop right in the middle of the back straightaway. I didn't check up in time. I ran heavily into the back of Kurt Busch. 5 laps to go. How does Kurt like it? Anybody that could have happened to, it being Kurt Busch, was just like instant karma for him. Well, not instant, but it was karma. From middle of the race. I was pretty much done on my take there. Yeah, I mean, it was just cost-cutting measures. That's why they don't do it. I don't agree with it. I think it does hinder the broadcast, but I think because it's a truck series level race anyway, that they feel that they can get away with not having to put 100% of their effort in the broadcasting side of things when airing the race. They can half-ass it essentially and get away with it, and that's exactly what they're doing. It's not right, but I'm just telling it how it is, I guess. Well, everybody is definitely picked, because now we have a 4-lap lead on the field here. Final lap of the race. And Clint Boyer is going to bring it home a winner. He's going to lead well over 200 laps today from the pole. Race win. Could have went wire to wire if we didn't make that mistake in the first 100 laps of the race, but needless to say, it's still a dominating performance. And a win is a win is a win. DW very annoying. I like this charm. I think down the home stretch it was like really bad. I think way better than Michael Waltrip personally. I think Waltrip's kind of on that same level as DW, but a lesser commentator, I guess. Sorry, Mikey, but I mean, let's be honest, he's only there because his brother was there and had the success that he did at Fox, so yeah, I like Jamie Little. I like her as a pit reporter, but I feel like I could do better with the the commentary side of things. Maybe not right off the rip because I've never done it before, but just the practice I've gotten with the doing it on the channel. Well, Tony Stewart finishes in second, and he led laps today, so despite the dominant performance, we're only going to be able to gain, or pull away, I should say, 15 points on him today. Better than nothing, though, and we still got the win. He started second. He led 25 laps, so he led for 271. Denny Hamlin finishes third. Started deep in the field. Justin Smith, that's right. Justin Smith finishes fourth. Aaron Crocker fifth. Jeremy Mayfield in sixth. J.J. Yaley seventh. Forsett eighth. Art Cooper ninth. Kevin Harvick led one lap, rounds out the top 10. Our other teammate, Jeff Burton, no laps led, finishes 21st, 7 laps down. Harvick was 6 laps down. Again, everybody had one extra pit stop than we did. That's why our margin of victory was 4 laps. Only DNFs today. Kenny Wallace blew motor late. I didn't see that, but we did see the John Andretti and Jimmy Johnson engine failures earlier on. So those are the only 3 that failed to make it to the finish. 117.42 mile per hour average race speed, 1 hour, 21 minutes, 42 seconds total time on the race today. 8 lead changes. That's not accurate. We definitely didn't have 8 lead changes. I didn't even see that. 3 laps led for Jeremy Mayfield, but we probably, with the green flag stops in there at some point, we probably had 4 to 5 lead changes, maybe 6, not 8. 1 caution though, and I wish this game didn't fudge up the lead changes. I don't know why it does that. I don't remember it doing that with any of the other EA games that we've played so far on the channel. I always felt that they were accurate, but like it's like obviously inaccurate here. Like I remember I led every single lap at Phoenix and it said we had like 4 lead changes or something like that. Like that didn't make any sense. Yeah, Phil Parsons is definitely the best. That's inarguable. But he's also been doing it longer than everybody else, too. I mean, he was doing it back in the Speed Channel days with Rick Allen for the Truck Series races, so he's got a good grasp on what he's doing by now. IRP tomorrow night, Kroger 200. 200 lap race. Fun wore out racetrack. And yeah, that'll be starting at 7 p.m. tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I do have the schedule up for the rest of the week in the community tab. At 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Again, we pull ahead 15 more points. So having that 15-point advantage compared to coming into the night on Tony Stewart, we'll see where that leads us. Ended our very small winless streak. 12th win of the year. Stewart finishes second yet again, so try to go for number 13 tomorrow night on another short track. Where's Jeff Burton at in points? 11th. Johnson had the engine failure, so he fell back a little bit. I want to see if Burton can get that top 10 before the season's up. All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a good rest of your night. I will see you back tomorrow again, 7 p.m. Eastern, IRP, for the Busch Series on NASCAR 07.